Welcome to my channel, and in case you don't know me, my name is Mercy. I'm a wellness nurse coach, and I'm also an ER nurse, former travel nurse. And yeah, my channel, usually I like to bring real life, real stories, and I also like to teach about women, about our bodies, our health, our heart health, and anything in between. This is not for medical advice. Those stories that I give are my own lived experience, or my family lived experience. If you have any questions, I always ask you to follow up with your doctor. Do not say that I gave you medical advice. This is just my own lived experience, which I've lived for a while now. And also, it's for women and men also. They can take a thing here or two, because all those men have wives, sisters, mothers, aunties that can benefit from whatever I'm going to talk about today. So today I'm going to talk about my menopause journey, and the fact that I was born and raised in Kenya, and my culture is very cliquish. It's very they don't tell us anything. They don't teach us about sex education. They don't teach us about our bodies, and we learn from other people. We learn from schooling, and I remember my mom had me when she was 40 years old, and maybe when I was 10, I remember hearing just chatter about them not being able to drink tea with tea leaves, because we do a lot of tea, but with tea leaves, and I had no idea why. And I could see women of in their 40s all sweating, wearing their sweaters, bringing them out. Had no idea why that is. Nobody has ever told me anything about my menopause. All I've learned is from, thank God the podcasts are coming out, and they are teaching us about it, and we can get materials from online. But leaving, if somebody who has gone through this journey would walk us through the journey, I think that would be wonderful. I don't see why that it is such a hush hush illness, a hush thing. It is part of life. It's part of getting old. And what's wrong with that? The alternative of getting old is being dead. I'm grateful to be here every single day. And this is for my young viewers and anybody else who's going through this journey, because it is a journey. I was listening to a podcast by one of the doctors there. We'll link her name, and what she said was very powerful to me. One thing she said about, yes, menopause has been put in the background, like nobody checks about women on when we get to our 50s and above, because we are no longer the center of attention anymore. They do put a lot in that this healthcare. I'm broadcasting from US. This healthcare in the US, and I'm sure even in other places, they focus on helping women have babies. I think that's the most important stage of a woman, is having babies. But we are still your mothers, we are still your grandmothers, you're still your wife. And I'm actually, when I think about it, I wonder why so many divorces happen around this time. It's because we haven't been taught about our bodies, or been given the support to support our bodies, because surely, yes, it does happen. It is a crisis, whether we want to talk about it or not talk about it. And what that doctor said was, if men the journey of menopause is compared to men having their this is an adult education. It's like having the men lose their testicles, and they shrivel, and they're in pain, they're inflamed, and they're not able to perform. And if that was happening to men, like when we go through menopause, she was comparing menopause to men having their testicles shrink. And what she said was, if that was happening to men, the menopause was happening to men, they would have come up with a pill the same way they came up with the Viagra, because when they got to their 50s, they were not able to perform sex and what have you. So they were able to find that pretty quickly, but they haven't been able to quite figure out about our hormone replacement, and it has been put in the back burner and being told that we're gonna get cancer from it. But my journey as of this moment is, give it to me, give me that HRT. I don't care what you say, because I think quality of life is more important than suffering through not sleeping and brain fog and all the symptoms that come with it. So I remember I was in the emergency room having an emergency situation. I'm trying to save this guy's life. He was bleeding out so bad, and I'm trying to give him blood to just sustain whatever else was going. And the doctor is yelling orders left and right. And I remember having this body experience. I started feeling this heat coming from my leg coming up all the way to my neck, and I've always been cold. I'm wearing a sweater, my hands are full of blood, and I'm wondering who in the world touched the air condition. Did we turn the air condition? What's going on? And I couldn't, there's nothing I could do. I couldn't stop. And this feeling kept coming and kept coming, because this was a crisis. And that crisis lasted maybe an hour for us to stabilize that person. I don't know how long it lasted, but it kept coming. Every time the doctor would be yelling at something, that heat comes up from my legs and to my neck, and I was miserable, sweating, and I couldn't stop for a minute to remove my sweater. And after that, when everything was settled and the guy did not pass on us, I went to the nursing station and removed my sweater, and I thought, what in the world just happened? And at that moment, I thought, oh, holy moly, this is what they call premenopause. And that's I was in my 40s, and I had not experienced anything. And moving forward, I every time I would go in the hospital, which I work in the emergency room, every time I would have an emergency room, anything that's really stress related, stress triggering, and I would have this hot flashes all the time. And then I started not being able to sleep, and you've been working for so many hours, and when you get home, you're having night sweats up and down, and wanting to go to the restroom all the time to urinate, and it was just so miserable. I remember going to one of my OBGYN in California, and I told her what I was going through. She goes, oh, welcome to menopause. And I said, can I have some home HRT? And she said, hell no, I'm not going to give it to you. I said, why? She didn't even want to have the conversation. She said, oh, first of all, you never had any kids. And that brings you to the a high level, like I'm higher of having breast cancer. Although in my family, we don't even have any breast cancer history or anything like that. But she wouldn't discuss with me. She just shut me down. And she was older than me, just a few years older than me, but she wouldn't talk. She wouldn't give me what I needed, until I moved to Oregon, and I found a different kind of doctor who assured me I'm not on any higher percentage of having breast cancer because I didn't have any kids. And I was grateful, because at this moment, what is important to me is quality of life is very important to me, other than being miserable. And so these guys took over from me, and I would say I started seeing them September 2025, and I have my notes here. And I don't remember when I started seeing them, but it was 2022 that I started doing that. And when they checked my levels of progesterone, it was 0.5, and they want it to be less than 0.5 to 1 nanogram per ml. Those are the low levels for progesterone for somebody who is going through menopause. And then they put me on HRT, and this can be something very sensitive to women who have lost people from breast cancer or some kind of cancer. So I'll be mindful of that. That HRT, to me, I'm doing well, and I'm ready for the consequences of what happens after that. because the campaign has come out stating that that has nothing to do with breast cancer. It was a very small sample of breast cancer that of women that was taken. Like they haven't put any money on the research, and they made women so scared. But I'm a living proof, and yeah, if I have a short life, but it's a quality of life, that's okay. But anyway, so they've been doing my level. So they gave it to me in 2025, and it was on the low side. And 2023, they did not repeat my levels. And then in January 2025, I went and got my progesterone, and it was increasing. 2025, it was increasing, and because I was taking 200 milligrams of progesterone. And then they gave me a cream for estradiol, and in September 2025 it was less than 15, and in December it has gone up to 40. I think they call it PG per ml. I don't know what the PG is. Anyway, my journey was between 2022 and 2025, and nobody was checking my levels. I think 2025, at the beginning of it, I started having night flushes again, night sweats again, and I'll call my provider, and they did my blood work, and they told me, no, you're not absorbing your estradiol, so that's why you're having your night sweats again and not sleeping again, da 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 da, which they were supposed to be doing it every year, but they were not. They did not. There were some years there that they did not do that. So I moved, I changed my providers. I went to somebody else who is a functional medicine that did all other blood work. It's not just those two blood works that we should be looking into, but he did a panel of other blood work that was amazing to see all that stuff. So the progesterone, after we stop having our menstrual period, it does protect our uterus from getting endometrial hyperplasia, or the thickening of the womb, which can sometimes be masked, and we can miss uterine or endometrial cancer, but otherwise it's usually benign, other than it can kind of we can miss having the cancer if it's too thickened. So that's why we take the progesterone to keep thinning our uterus while we're taking the estrogen. And the protection, if you have low progesterone, you're gonna have anxiety, mood changes, sleep disturbances. You're gonna have some PMSs worse than what you had when you were much younger. You're gonna have some hot flashes, bloating, and weight gain. This is where all the weight gain comes in your abdominal area. And you're gonna have some headache. Some people do have some headache and migraines, not everybody. And of course, we have low sex drive. That's low progesterone. And for the low estrogen levels, we're gonna have some vaginal dryness and very discomfort, so that sex is not comfortable having. Of course, we're gonna have our sex drive go down. Our skin is dry and the hair start thinning, and yeah, all those years I was suffering, my hair started falling off, but now it has all come back. You have a high risk of having urinary tract infection. You have a lot of mood swings, anxiety, and depression. And the big one is a brain fog, that you cannot remember anything and you're losing train of thought. You have insomnia. You can't sleep because you're always hot. And also, low progesterone decreases your bone loss. You can have bone loss, and it does. It also, the estrogen does protect us from cardiovascular diseases, like things like stroke or heart failure. So if you have low estrogen levels, that's gonna put you at a risk of having strokes and bone problem. I remember before I started taking my HRT, I was having trouble going up the stairs, and I thought, what is happening with me? I'm still young, because your body is still young, and I was having so much joint pain. and I wasn't sure what was going on. But as soon as I started taking the HRT, my bone started feeling much better. So I'm talking especially to the women in our, I grew up in Kenya, so the women in Africa, if you can engage me, I do know that in Africa, I'm not sure if you guys get HRT, but the beauty of Africa is we are so much well versed with herbal medication. I know there's some herbs that you guys take to help with all these symptoms, and I don't know what they are because nobody has ever told me about that stuff. And I remember one time talking to one of my sisters here, and she was telling me she was getting some moringa and some other stuff, and that was her beginning of her journey. But she never shared with me what she used to take or how she did. And I'm not sure if I guess having severe hot flashes and night sweats, I'm not sure if it varies from women. I'm sure it varies from women to women, but I'm not sure if it's any less for those women who have had kids. And so there's a protection that happens in your uterus when you have kids, more than those women that haven't had kids. That I'm not sure. That's just my thought, because some people don't have it severely, they don't have it, and some others do have it. And I eat right, I exercise, but there came to a point where my knees were so weak and so painful that I couldn't do it. But thank God, after I got my estrogen, estradiol, and progesterone, that reduced. Then just a few months ago, my body has been in havoc, bleeding or just off all the time. And I do know that I did have fibroids at the beginning, at one point in my life. So I went and got an ultrasound, and I have multiples of them, and I'm sure this is being caused by the estrogen that I'm replacing with it. And we had to do a procedure to make sure that I don't have any cancer, and that was done this week. And they did not remove the uterus. I'm not quite there yet. If this continues, that will happen. And they put a IUD with progesterone so that they can directly combat the bleeding from the fibroid. But they did remove some fibroids there. So anyway, yeah, I can only see how when women get to this age when we are not able to perform and make our men happy, that's some men decide to take off and not understand what the woman is going through. And this can, I'm sure it does, bring more depression to the women and more mood swing. But I would hope that the men would want to learn this journey, because it's a lonely journey, and if it was them going through this journey, their wives will not abandon them and run away with younger men or what have you. It's just a matter of helping us take care of our bodies and replace our hormones in whichever way you can. And those people who have family history, I'm not sure how you guys can be helped. But yeah, here there's some valerian root teas, and meditation has become, I was listening to a book about how you can meditate through this. Eating healthy is also a big deal, eating your vegetables, fruit, and getting your sleep, which is a problem if you're sweating all the time. So please talk to your providers and see how we can be helped, because it's a sad situation when I'm feeling great, when I'm not having those hot flashes. I'm very capable of doing everything. You come to the hospital, I'm able to take care of you. But yet on the other side of women health, we kind of get left behind. So this was just my story. Like I said, this channel, I bring my story and other people's story so we can share, because I would hate to imagine my younger nieces going through this journey, because we don't talk about it. It's a hush hush story. We don't talk about sex. We don't talk about anything or what to be expected when you get married. We learn from other people. I wish we can change our culture, but that's the way the culture is built. But we don't have to have other women suffer. And I hope somebody can learn from this and have their aunties talk to them, and especially in Africa where we don't, I don't know if we have hormone replacement therapy, but we do have roots and teas that might be able to help this situation. I cannot talk from that point of view because nobody ever told me. I have 4 older sisters than me, and this is not a conversation we've ever heard of their journey. They've never talked to me about it. Yeah, it's a lonely journey, and we need to hold each other's hold each other space, hold each other in our heart, and help each other get better. If you know something that helped you, it's good to share because it's a lonely journey, and we all have to go through it no matter what. It is not a journey every woman will go through it, and we shouldn't be alone on this one. Anyway, it was just my thought. I made this for my younger self, my younger nieces, and my nephews who have wives that are going through crisis and going through divorce, because this is the stage they are. If this can help somebody today, or whenever you come across it, it might not be today, it might be a year from now. That's yeah, that's why I make this story. So if one person can learn from it, that would be wonderful. Anyway, so those who do not know me, my name is Mercy. I'm a wellness nurse coach, and if you're not in my state where I practice as a nurse coach, I am a holistic wellness coach. I like talking about eating whole foods, meditation, exercises. That's my specialty. And yeah, this is for my YouTube subscribers. Please like, share, comment. Let me know you're watching. Let me know that I'm not just talking to the air. It would be so wonderful to hear um, from you, from your end, your experience, especially women, if we can help our younger people. Because actually the stories I've also heard from younger women is at the 35 they would go to the doctors and they're having these symptoms. Clearly that they're not sleeping and they're told it's all in your head. No, it's not all in your head. This is all happening to us, and we have to advocate ourselves in whichever way we can. We don't have to suffer in silence. So if I can help 1 or 2 women, that would be wonderful. Otherwise, follow me, subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Mercy out.